things, but then the reality has always been that we will tell you how it is so that we'll be able to correct and improve on what is on ground. Today, we are happy to report that that stadium, as it stands today, it's going to be taking a lot of resources to water that stadium for it to host any major matches. And that Tornado State alone, I don't think has the capacity to do that. And if the state government is not ready to do it, then sport-loving Nigerians, it's not enough to be sitting down in your armchairs and be criticizing the management, criticizing the player, criticizing everybody. This is the time for us to show our philanthropic gestures. Go out there. If just a truck of water you can afford, 20,000 naira, I think, is a truck of water. That is going to be more than enough to see that that stadium is water consistently for 1-2 weeks, and then we'll see some differences happening in that stadium. All right, we have so much to talk about. Let's quickly go over to the sports papers review this evening. And I'm sure there's going to be something very interesting for us to talk about because of the reviews. So let's go back quickly. Don't tell me that Basero has gotten a job.
Okay,
but let me quickly say that yes, this program is live on YouTube and Facebook, so you can being streamed live. So we are going to be live on your Facebook, and of course, just go to the Prestigefm91.7 mx and you see it. Go to YouTube 91. Prestigefm91.7 mx, and of course, there you are live, and you'll be watching us anywhere in the world.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the midweek edition of the Sports Flash. My name is Martins and I'll be taking you through the papers this evening. And on the cover page of the Punch Sports Extra, where Mr. Dan was going to
I didn't say
was
anything.
making emphasis and talking about, we see Algeria ignore Pasero, set to name Petkovic coach. Algeria ignored Pasero, set to name Petkovic coach. And on the cover page, it is written boldly here saying snubbed. And that story is found on the page 7 of the Punch Sports Extra. Pep begs Phillips. Wow. Pep begs Phillips. That story is found on the page 4 of the Punch Sports Extra. We don't know why, but you can see that on the page 4. And I think Philip has already deemed himself that he wants to leave the club and have more playing time. And on page 5, we see United keen on luring Kane back to EPL. United keen on luring Kane back to EPL. That is on page 5. We'll see either he will be lured back to EPL and wearing the red jersey. Mbappe agrees to join Real Madrid. That is on page 3 of the Punch Sports Extra. And EPL Super Goal Converter. EPL Super Goal Converter. This story is found on page 6 of the Punch Sports Extra. Still on page 6, we see Osimhen would have saved my job, says Mazzari. Osimhen would have saved my job, says Mazzari, who was sacked within the week, I guess, or last week.
And he said it was because of
Osimhen. Yes, that's what he said. That's on page 6. You can find that story on the page 6 of the Punch Sports Extra. Haaland's strike breaks stubborn bees. It was really a very stubborn. They were really stubborn bees for Man City. But Haaland's strike breaks stubborn bees, ending their game against Brentford 1-0. And that story is found on page 8. And on page 8, we see Arnautovic gives Nerazura advantage. Wow, that is a very long
football.
And I crucified these names. So, but I'll go again. Arnautovic gives Nerazuri advantage. I'm talking about Inter versus Atletico Madrid, and that story is found on page 8. And on page 2, lastly, the Tigers begin Afro Basket qualifiers on Friday. That is on page 2 of the Punch Sports Extra. Moving over to the Sporting Life newspaper. On the cover page, we see here Xavi saying, "We'll stop Osimhen." Says no favourites between Napoli and Barcelona. That is on the back page of the Sporting Life newspaper. And Pasero shuns 200 million naira a month Algeria's offer. That is on page 7. And the Champions League final, the only good game in your career. That is what Hazard tells Mikel. That story is found on page 4. You will find this really interesting on the Sporting Live newspaper on the page 4. Iheanacho sets for Leeds United clash. That is on page 7. And still on page 7, Akanji defends Eagles logo tattooed on his arm. Akanji defends Eagles logo tattooed on his arm. And Fulham open to selling Palfinha. That is on page 3 of the Sporting Live newspaper. And Partey Vieira resume training for Arsenal. Partey and Vieira resume training for Arsenal. And Barca Atletico to battle for Greenwood. Barca Atletico to battle for Greenwood. I hope he comes back to United instead since he is on loan. And on page 5, we see Luke de Jong rescues points for hosts. Talking about PSV and Dortmund, Borussia Dortmund. Haaland scores as champion close gap on Liverpool. And Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool join race for Ederson. That is on page 3. Still on page 3, we see Chelsea join Arsenal, Man United in Zirkzee race. Chelsea join Arsenal and United in Zirkzee race. And Algeria FA president furious at Pasero. Algeria FA president furious at Pasero. That is all that we can take on the newspaper review this evening. Thank you so much.
Algeria's pursuit of Pasero was like a two-edged sword. One, it was beneficial to Pasero to have his profiles a little bit hyped up by virtue of the fact that Nigeria qualified for the finals of AFCON. That automatically has added market value to his trade. And as it stands now, we are all aware that Algeria are not the same with Nigeria. So the Algerian team can only get to Pasero if they are sure that Pasero was willing to actually coach there. But with the look of things, Pasero knew that with the kind of players at his disposal, and many more players out there of Nigerian descent who he can actually call up to, this Nigerian team, if properly managed by a very technically sound coach, can compete with the best in the world. So it will be foolhardy for any coach to just walk away. At 63, you should know Pasero definitely will not just be after the money, but he should be equally thinking about the legacies that actually he will leave. Who knows? This is one of his high points in football by getting a silver medal in a major competition worked by over 2 billion people across the world. So he couldn't have gotten to that kind of level. Algeria in 2021 in Cameroon did not do well. In 2024, which was the AFCON, they didn't do well too. So taking such a job, you know, equally is going to be a risk. Yes. Even though the money could be very enticing, but you know, I used to say it. Sometimes it is not the money you go after, but you gotta go after what will build up your own career. All right, so much about that. Let's go quickly to what is happening this evening before we invite One Drop to speak to us this evening, because I'm sure many people have been missing his voice, so we want to hear what he has to say now that he's back. All right, but tonight we are having a match by 8 p.m. Nigerian time. Liverpool will take on Luton in that Premier League match, early kickoff of the weekend matches. In Champions League, FC Porto will be training tackle with Arsenal. So Arsenal will be put to test today. Yeah. And of course, we might see if Arsenal really means they are really out and ready to take on Europe this season.
It's not by winning 5-5 in the Premier League.
Some people are jealous that they are not winning that much. Napoli and Barcelona, that's going to be the match that many people will be focusing their attention. Two struggling sides in Europe. Of course, Barcelona is still third on the league, but then they are not the Barcelona that everybody knows. And of course, Napoli has the worst defending champion record in history in Italian Serie A, because this is the 68th year that any defending champion could be languishing 9th actually in the league table at this time of the season. Like I say, some of us work with the statistics. So this is the worst record that any defending champion could ever have in Serie A. So it is going to be, and a coach has came in less than 3 months ago has been fired because wonderful book, things fall apart. The center is not holding for Napoli, and of course the coach said, if only I had Osimhen, who knows that this would have not been the case. He was out for injury. After injury, he ran away to Nigeria and said he's going to play for AFCON. And then we had a free fall. And today, they lost actually 8 matches in the league so far. And they won a total of 13, I think, or so, and drew up as 5. So it was not a very convincing performance by the defending champion. So, but tonight, they have only the Champions League to contend for now, because all other leagues in domestic and of course other leagues in Italy, they have been knocked out of all those leagues. So that is the situation of Napoli. And like we said, this is going to be another very interesting. Yesterday before, we saw Inter Milan beating Atletico Madrid 1-0, and of course PSG, Edevan and Borussia Dortmund ended 1-1 in that encounter. So tonight we are going to be seeing very interesting matches. But before we do that, let's quickly go over to see if we can see Bros one drop and hear from him what he has to say, because he has been missing in action for some time. Now that we've gotten him, let's hear him what he has to say. Now, Randy One Drop is back and kicking. So let's hear what he has to say for Nigeria.
You're back in Nigeria, contract extension based on your performances in the World Cup. I know you made the World Cup. You said your target was just coming out from the Group Stage meetings. And then we got to the second round. We're back now in Nigeria. 15 years out of the Olympics. What's your personal target?
Well, the goal obviously is to qualify for the Olympics. We can't look ahead of ourselves as to the success in the Olympics until we get there. So qualification is going to be the primary goal. And we've got, as everyone knows, we have a very difficult set of matches coming up with Cameroon. So all the focus now will be on those 2 matches.
How are we ready for Cameroon? Do we stop them from going to the World Cup last month in Morocco? And we will surely seeking for revenge.
Well, they will, and if I understand history correctly, I think Cameroon stopped us from going to the Olympics a few years back, maybe 2012, somewhere around there. So I think the 2 countries know each other very well, and they certainly have a lot of talent, and they're very, very dangerous, especially in their counter-attacking style of play. But I really, really like our squad. I like the team. I like the team chemistry. We were able to get all of our players back in for these matches, and I think that's very important. So if we can put together our performances like we did at the World Cup, then I really like our chances.
So you're saying we'll try as much as possible to maintain the tempo of the World Cup and
Well, we need to carry on from what we did at the World Cup and build on it and even be better. You know, the difficult part for these matches or any of our upcoming matches is that the window of time, the international break, doesn't give you a lot of training time. So we're going to have to rely a lot on our experience at the World Cup to take us through, especially this first match at Cameroon, before we really get a few really good days of training before the second match.
All right, the second match actually is coming up on Monday, 26th of the return match against Cameroon is coming up on 26th in Abuja at the National Stadium, or the MK Abiola Stadium in Abuja. All right, let me welcome JJ and of course the 2 Amazons who are here today. In fact, I was just saying that it's like the Amazons are exchanging. If one is in, another is out. Last Monday we saw one in and the other one was not out. But today all of them are wearing glasses and are coming around. All right, I better move down your this thing. let me see your face very well. All right, gentlemen, good evening and welcome on board. Okay, let's start from the female coach who is back. I think the man is saying yes, he's aware of the threat posed by the Cameroonians who stood between us in 2012 in the London Olympics, where we wouldn't qualify because the Cameroonians were able to knock Nigeria out of the competition or the qualifying series. Today, we are actually going to be in Douala for this weekend encounter. And of course, after that match, then we'll be going to come back to Lagos, I mean to Abuja on Monday for that distance. So immediately after the match, the guest has to be coming back, preparing for the match on Monday. That is on the 26th. So that is the scenario. Coming back of this man, around the one drop, bearing in mind that there was quite a number of matches that were played, African qualifiers and some other matches that were played in his absence, and the guys who are actually handling the team were actually calling on players and leaving out some players, and he has not been with the team for some time, and here he's coming straight to a major qualifier. Do you think the chemistry he's talking about in this interview, that because there is chemistry in this team, so he believes that the team can always do well? When this team actually not been playing together for some time, because some of the key players in this team have not actually been there. So what do you think, Messi, will be happening to one drop? If because these are the kind of banana peels I'm afraid for coaches, because 1 minute you are a hero, the next minute you go a villain. If actually don't deliver in accordance with the expectations of Nigeria. So
okay. First of all, we should understand that he is still the coach of the Super Falcons, right? And if you say that there is chemistry, that there is synergy between them, obviously there has to be something for him to say that. Because I don't see a reason why he will come out and say that there is chemistry when there is none. Okay, and then like we've been saying it, I've been saying it, I don't know, but then Mr. Austin will not allow me to say. I said bringing foreign coaches to coach our teams sometimes cannot be favorable for us, because if it was actually an indigene, or how do we say it again, an indigenous coach, there's no way that you will leave your team, there's no practice beforehand, no training beforehand, and then you just come straight in. You are in the country with these players, or you are, even though you're not in the country, but at least once in a while you gather these people, summon them for training, one or two trainings and something like that. You just don't come and then tell them that okay, there's a tournament, then you have to come to the camp and let's go for the just like that. Understand? It could be advantageous to us, but if you say there's chemistry, though he is the coach. Let's see what he has for us.
Okay, let's hear from Messi. Naomi, sorry. I do know that this man is actually a coach that was after the heart of Nigeria because of his ethics. Should anything go wrong, this honeymoon of the second coming of wardrobe might not end in disaster.
Good evening to all my listeners. Sorry, Mr. Dan, I want to ask a question. What happened to the previous coach, the one that qualified them? Yeah.
The coach has been, it was like an interim arrangement, because the substantive coach was one drop. His contract has expired, and then instead of them to renew it immediately, they refused to renew it, because at that point, because of what happened before the World Cup, I'm sure. But again, by the virtue of the pressure brought by the first leader of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and some well-meaning Nigerians, they now felt okay, because they put pressure on the NFF to renew the contract. So, and now the NFA is aware too that it's not a big stage. Nigeria has not qualified for the Olympic female competition for the past 2 editions of the competition. So this is going to be the 3rd attempt now in the last 3 editions. So they now knew that if you come to a big stage, you must get a big coach. So maybe that is why they've decided now to bring him back. But bringing him back on the eve of qualification, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that it doesn't. Sorry.
But he is saying that, well, we have a good chemistry, we have our players who will understand each other, so there will be no problem. But in reality,
if he actually works with the team that qualified,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
But again, actually, we saw another team playing out in this. We saw people calling in players to come and represent Nigeria. It was not the coach that released the list of the players, because it was not the coach this thing. In fact, it was even stated by the NFF that one drop is back. So meaning that even before he's coming back, the list was already out. Probably maybe they consulted him so that he
but sorry, sir. See, the entering coach, the entering coach that just left, according to what you guys said, did well with those set of girls. Why not retain him? Why not retain him? Why bring wardrobe back? To me, it doesn't. Pressure of what?
From the first lady and then from the Nigerians.
Okay, at the end of the day, if you mess up, where
no, not tell us that. Okay, didn't we tell you it's not good?
Where will the blame come from now?
No, of course, he himself is on trial now because it's
On trial in a major tournament, on trial.
No, what I mean is trial, not a trial in the context of his capacity or otherwise. On trial on the fact that he, as a person, knows that it's either he performs or he's ridiculed out. It's not just going to be sacked, but it's going to be ridiculed out by the NFF because this is like a banana peel that the NFF is now. Because if they had actually wanted him to come back, the clamor was. In fact, I think it's almost about almost over 6 months now.
Yeah.
Since the World Cup ended. So why wait till
Now,
the qualifiers and playing a very key
it's
opponent?
something like a setup actually.
Okay,
Kind of a
JJ,
setup.
you had the coach interview very clearly. Do you think he can perform the miracle?
He can perform the miracle.
You can't.
He can perform the miracle. Look, by the coach was not around, but you should understand that he has a very good human relation with these girls. Even before he left, even when they were qualifying with the indigenous coach, these girls were parleying with him over there. We cannot know, but definitely with his statement, he knew that quite okay, these girls are still with him. And with his statement in the interview, he said he has no costume. He has everything indicating. You see, there's one thing. The pressure that came that they should return him back to Eagles is a welcome idea because he has been performing wonderful with the girls. They have been doing very well. And he even said it before he left. He said he has 1, 2, 3 players that maybe they are aged. And then he will bring in 3 again to at least place to those who are aged. So for me, that coach is going to do well, surprising to Nigerians.
All right, Martis.
I'm having the confidence that he is coming with at least his
First
match.
team we are going to meet in the
Yes.
qualifying series now is Cameroon straight because Cameroon is one team that is stopping Nigeria, especially women. They might not stop us in the World Cup qualifier, but they are always stopping us in going to the Olympics. And so let it not be that the Cameroon nemesis is going to catch up with us. But fortunately, we are playing the first leg away from home in Douala. Now the return leg is going to be in Nigeria on Monday, this coming Monday. So what do you think will be the likely scenario that will play out?
Okay, I think there's so much hatred between Nigeria and Cameroon, both for the
Both
male
and
the
the
female.
female.
And for that reason, it is going to be a fight regardless. But coming to the coach who was handed to the team this minute, we all know that in its nature to be a national team coach, there's this factor of limited time. Every coach, being male or female, you have limited time to always want to prepare your players because these players, most of them which are international or even local players, have their leagues to play, have their teams to play for, that you only have little time to come play with them before tournaments, before playoffs, before qualifiers, before all of these things. You have little time. Well, I believe for him taking the job, he has his plans laid out to qualify, and if we are able to replicate World Cup performance, I think it's going to be good for us.
All right, let's pray for the best for the team as they go to Cameroon, as they are in Cameroon right now. So we're going to be seeing that match coming up in the next 48 hours, and I'm sure very soon we'll be seeing the result of that match, and then we'll know what will happen in the return leg because that match will actually define a lot of things for Nigeria. Because it's either that match is going to knock out one, and again, this I don't know the pairing. That is another issue I've been wondering. Why are we always making sure that the best of African teams that are supposed to represent us at the Olympic and the World Cup always play each other at the qualifying series? Because Cameroon or Nigeria, any of these two teams are good enough to go and represent and do well for Africa. But if you are not playing each other, while we're discussing Niger Tornadoes home ground issue, because I do know for sure that the grasses in that stadium for now cannot really host a major National League, Premier League match. But if more pressure are being put into play, I mean by showing that we're watching that grasses more often, I think maybe in the next couple of weeks we might see a glimpse of hope in that stadium. But as it stands now, no way. So what do you think we need to do? Because as it stands, because before coming to this show, we're able to take a look at that
the stadium.
And we're
in
there
the
live,
stadium
not
live.
that some people will stay in the comfort of their home. They won't even go to the stadium. They won't even know what is happening. When we say things here, they will stay at the comfort of their home and say, "You're only trying to run us down." But we don't just come here to say things except we verify them. Now another issue is brewing again in the state. The Amsterdam Youth Center, there is a sporting facility at the back of that edifice. we are aware that there are moves now to ensure that that sport facility is cancelled, and we are hoping that that is not true, but we are still keeping tabs on what is happening. So, but let us leave that one aside now, because we are coming for that maybe on Saturday, and we want to say that we don't even have enough sporting facilities in Niger State as it stands, especially in the state capital. So we cannot even afford to see that the little ones that have been provided on no condition, on no account, should we begin to see that we want to, what do you want to do in that youth center that will affect the sport facilities? It will in no wise affect the sport facility. Leave the sport facility as it is. So if anyone has the, or is harboring the thought, or trying to demolish and do away with the the basketball court in that place, please, there is no facility of that magnitude anywhere in the world that will not go with a sporting facility. So no matter what you want to turn the place to, it can still accommodate those facilities. So please let us be guided, because that was a plan for that place when that place was built, and those facilities were part of the master plan of that place. So I don't know what has so changed so drastically now that we want to do away with facilities that we are even having insufficient in the state. The little we have, we want to start
cancelling it.
Please let us think twice, because you might look at it from one way, but from the larger perspective and from the larger interest, because Niger State is becoming a bigger city gradually. We're supposed to be having facilities in the places like Chanchaga, where from Chanchaga they can take care of those facilities and be using those facilities for training and all, or what have you not. The people living around Shango axis should equally have their own facilities. Now that facility is within the vicinity of Tunga axis. You understand? Now we already have another facility by our own senator coming up in Gidankwanu side, which is another axis of Tunga. So let us have enough facilities. So if you are beginning to look at it that, okay, Amadou Bahago has come up, can you imagine the transport somebody will pay from Chanchaga to access Amadou Bahago? So when we are doing policy analysis, we should have to put all this into consideration before we begin to take decisions. And I don't know, were major sport stakeholders consulted, or were the ministry just there and they agreed that this thing should be the way it is going? We hope it is not true, and we hope that, like this, we are taking, maybe it's a commentary we are running now, so that we'll be able, yes, we should be telling people, it has gone beyond, we are just talking for the sake of talking, but we are going to be talking, these are policy statements we are making now. We are saying these things, that if those who have ears are listening, they should be able to do the needful. Because these are consultancy services we are rendering free of charge to them. Because if we have facilities in Chanchaga, people don't need to come from Chanchaga to Amadou Bahago to come and train. They should be able to train within that axis. That is what it's supposed to be, and that is what it ought to be. Of course, we are seeing, go to Angola, go to Rwanda, those cities that some of us are privileged to visit. Every neighborhood has sporting facilities, especially basketball courts. That is why you see them producing those fantastic basketball players. Go to Egypt, you see people produce swimmers. It's not by chance, it's not by accident. It's because the deliberate policy trust of the government. That is why you see from primary school to secondary schools, we have swimming pools in schools. It's compulsory. You can't open a private school without those facilities. So that is why you see them producing it. So we cannot be having very few facilities. Then the few we have, you are now thinking of how to do away with them. Please, if you are having that, please let us put our thinking cap and do away with that thoughts. It is a plea from us here at the Sports Splash. Please, all right, Tornado's field of play. I think we are done with the part I have said. It was not a prepared speech.
No, all right. No, it's not a prepared speech, but on your speech, like I said, or on your view of looking at things all around, it's not surprising to us here. It's not surprising to our colleagues here. But for me, you are talking of some studies that they have been put in place and they have not finished. I want to speak generally on Gidankwanu. We should not say we want to put a pitch or want to introduce a mini stadium and we cannot finish it because of politics. This thing. I'm sorry to say, our senator in Zombi here wanted, or he was on the process of repairing that Gidankwanu, but this is second to third years. I can say 2 years now that it has been abandoned. Nothing.
No, I don't think it's up to 2 years. I like to be factual.
Yeah.
Because even before the election, the work was still going on.
Oh.
In fact, after the election, In fact, I think I drove past that place yesterday too.
Yeah. But
I
not
remember
this
vividly. No. That place is almost about 90% completed. So the finishing touches is what we should be appealing that. Since they have gone this far, please let this be completed and put to use. Because like we talk now, the badminton court in what do you call it, sports club in Mina, David Mark Road, is one of the best in Nigeria. And it is done by some few individuals. So when they do the right thing, we come here, we commend them.
Yes.
And so when we have these facilities, we want more facilities in Mina. Because time was when we had Colonel Abibu Shuaibu here in Mina. We're talking about 1990s, no, 90 something. Here in Mina here,
yes.
this Okada road here,
yes.
we had sport facilities. Hockey pitch was there.
Yeah.
Late governor of Yobe State now.
Yeah.
By then he was not a governor. He was the one who was the chairman of the Nigerian Hockey Federation then. He was the one who came here and laid the foundation of it. It was before then he went back to become 1999 he became governor of Yobe State. So these are facts, we have them.
Yeah.
Some people might not know these facts and they will just come up and begin to say things they don't know next to nothing about. So that place now has become an eyesore. That same hockey pitch now has become an eyesore. The stand has been vandalized. The pitch has become, I don't know whether it's a football pitch now or I don't even know what it is now. So it is those are the kind of things we pray that we don't want to be seen. Now back to what we are talking about.
Yeah.
The Bako Kutongora Stadium. This is a program that in this same place here. I remember some people say, hey, Dan, you are too spiritual. When you talk things, they come to pass. The fact remains that we are not doing magic here, but we're looking at things from a very, very, very advanced level. And we look at things dispassionately. When we say that the contractor and comb promoters were here and they came and were saying all sorts of things, we said, can that pitch be ready? Can we take you for your word that this thing can be ready?
You said they said it will be ready in 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. People are now counting months now. And that stadium is not yet ready. But if you ask them, they will tell you that we have done our own part. You do your own part. It is only when the place is becoming usable that your own part has been completed. So you saw what is there. Now we are still going back to Kaduna.
Yes.
When ordinarily, within the break we had and up to this moment, we're supposed to be saying that, okay, we're putting a timeline. This is when we're starting our league match. Even though now they are telling us that give us another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks will never end.
That 4 trucks will be coming to
water the place
daily. So my surprise is that when we get to Bago Kontagora Stadium, you know, it's not surprising to me, but in the sense that I've been visiting the stadium, right? What even pains me is that if a contractor is given a job to do, even the job of the dressing room is fantastic and some other things, but the main pitch is the eyebrow of every supporters or maybe the person that gave money to renovate that stadium. But when they are telling us for 2 weeks they will be back, I was so shocked. Does it mean that at the time that Tornadoes were at the first stanza, that water cannot be supplied to that very pitch up to date? Because they told us again day before yesterday, the LMC, is it the LMC or something of that nature, that they were in Mina, but what they complain is the pitch. So it is now that is coming in again to say, okay, they will be watering that field at least with 4 trucks every day before that 2 weeks elapse, and then maybe they will come back to the stadium. That, can you see it now? Had it been the chairman of the chairman of Niger Tornadoes is not passionate to football, do you think, and who will now say now that he's going to water that field? It means automatically Tornadoes will not come
all of us here, all of us in this text now follow this issue. And we are even at the stadium. Maybe it was only Messi that was not there. Messi was not the person who was not there. We were physically at the stadium when the place was going on. And again, some of us keep on repeating it over and over that it is one thing to start, it's another thing to complete it and ensure that it is usable. Now, what we are seeing now is that pitch, we were complaining of the grasses. Then, when I went there, I think that was the first thing I complained. And you know, maybe because we have been privileged to see pitches too, not only in Nigeria, outside this country. And so when we complain things, it's not because we want to criticize, but we want to see the best. Because I keep on asking myself, if you are now going to be playing your matches in Kaduna, it's not resources you are wasting. With that money you are going to Kaduna to play matches, if that money has been channeled to watering that stadium consistently and professionally, what would have been the fate of that stadium? It would have been better than what it is right now. So, Baptist, we are back again. Now, this is how we start again. 2 weeks. If it's not ready, another 2 weeks. If it's not ready, 2 weeks. Before we know it, then
months to years.
we continue again. And then the rains will not eventually come in.
I remember I was here when we had the chairman in the studio, and you asked, there were questions you asked in that period. One of it was who were in charge of the redevelopment of the stadium.
Good.
One of it, and you were asking if it were people outside of the state or people within the state. Another question you asked was if they were going to use natural turfs like the usual ground or artificial.
Synthetic.
And they said it was going to be. And I think there was one thing I know for probably redevelopment or building as it may be. There are instances where we could have some flaws, some parts of the building could be rushed and all of those things. We have collapse and then having to rebuild and all of those things. I want to say we should give the benefit of doubt for the 2 weeks, since we are seeing that this is the
last
problem.
phase.
This is the last phase. This is what has been encountered. I think we should give them the benefit of that. Since it is the turfs that we are having issues
Just
with,
now.
it is something that is not far-fetched that cannot be solved. It can be. I also just want to give this simple kudos because I personally have not been there for like 2 weeks or more. What I have been following, there are some analysts or there are a group that have been posting developments of that studio online, and I have been following that. And I have seen most especially the dressing rooms and all of that. They are looking really good, but I want to commend the work that has started and has gotten to this extent. We see people who would make comments even live on television, start something and do not complete. But we are seeing that it is almost at the verge of it. Congratulations, help us finish it. And when you do so, we are going to commend you.
Okay. What is going to be the impact? Niger Tornado is in a very precarious situation in Messi. And we speak now. Okay, after this, we'll take some calls. 17th in the leaked log. Because last Sunday, they were almost getting a draw, but somehow, they let it slip off. Now, with that kind of precarious situation, and you are playing away from home still. But again, they are hoping that they want to use Enugu Rangers. You know, I'm emphasizing Enugu Rangers International to relaunch that stadium. So, and I know I'm saying it. I know, as somebody said,
Honestly, this game would have been the best.
No, but they are not playing. They are playing Eyimba. Sorry, Abia Warriors. Then after which they will go away and then come for.
I just knew that I should not wear that jersey to the studio today because this is it.
It's not a conspiracy.
No, it's a conspiracy.
It's not. But I'm only telling you that by their own calculation, they want to use the stadium to launch the stadium back with Rangers International. It's a big match, so that is the kind of matches. But again, that is the kind of matches that you must be educating if eventually it happens, you must be educating the spectators ahead of time because it's a big team coming. It's a big team. And you yourself, who is going to use the stadium, you're not even used to that stadium yet. Even though we saw that they are trying to get acclimatized with the stadium gradually.
They are training now.
But they are not yet used to that stadium because most of the players in Tornadoes now were not the original player that were used to that pitch before.
There's also the spectators' atmosphere, the kind of atmosphere the fans are going to bring. Because it's going to be a different one. This is their back home now.
The stadium is not going to be as the capacity is not going to be as much as it used to be because now there are seats now. So those seats must be strictly full because if you overload the capacity of that stadium, it's the possibility of you encountering crisis will be there. And I'm sure those are areas that we need to be educating the fans at least. If Tornadoes come back to me now, behave yourself. Because the team is not even in a good position. Whereby if points are deducted from Tornadoes or Tornadoes is fine with huge sum of money or they deduct points from Tornadoes, then I think you have almost relegated Tornadoes yourself.
Now what you are saying is the chairman supporters club was saying Super, that's it. If they come back here, a fan or a supporter will come and just spoil their match because maybe they will draw or lose. No, they will not tolerate that. They will hand that very person to the security intelligence and say, no, go on orientation.
Go on sensitizing. Let's talk because we shall not call us to equally join the conversation. All right, so with this kind of situation, and we're still going to be playing away. I just pray that this 2 weeks is 2 weeks, and then the team will come back.
Come back home.
Otherwise, if they continue playing away with this kind of precarious situation they find themselves, I don't think it will be
because
funny for
actually it's I don't know. I feel like them playing away is going to be a little bit disadvantageous because unless they will go ahead and settle down, do a little 1 or 2 training before the game. You understand? Because you traveling from Niger State, Minna to Kaduna, though it's not really a long journey, but still it's like 3-4 hours to Kaduna.
Because as we speak now, there is already Tornadoes actually wanted playing this match on Saturday.
Yeah.
But like you're aware, the Kaduna State government has written the federal government that they want to take over that stadium. Now, on this Saturday, this stadium is going to be used by Kaduna State government, meaning that Tornadoes cannot play
on Sunday.
Now the question is, if they leave Minna
Tomorrow,
which is Thursday,
tomorrow.
they might get to Kaduna, they might train, they might not train. Saturday, automatically they cannot even have the feel of that stadium on Saturday because it's
they
going to be
need
used for
to
some other
get used to the
Faces,
stadium.
yeah.
So how are you going to be playing in a pitch that you are not already having access
used
to
to,
as of when you want? So it is not
It's
too
not easy,
good for Tornadoes,
yes,
and it's not really helping
because
the
you
team.
need to like
And
get used to this.
Unfortunately, Tornadoes is a team now that is on transition. In the middle of the league,
Yeah.
Tornadoes have lost some key players. And that is another key area that we need to really emphasize. So that the players, the supporters and Nigeria should not totally be expecting magic from the team management. Because if the teams are not told to them and the reality is not laid bare before them, they will be expecting the team management and the players to perform wonders. And there is no wonders in any way, except you want to go to Alice the Wonderland. Otherwise, in reality, there is no wonders.
It's like more like
So
garbage in, garbage out.
that is the reality on ground. So we hope that things will really take shape for Tornadoes because it will be very, very disadvantageous for us to see that Tornadoes who have come this far, anything goes wrong and they are relegated. All right, 09038808883 is the number. Call us and tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Okay, like we said, we are live on Facebook and of course in YouTube. Just go to Facebook, Prestigefm91.7 and of course MX. All right, let's take the first caller. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
This is Jerry.
All right.
Okay, Cherry from Paiku.
Yes,
Okay.
you are actually listener.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
That's
please.
very good.
The issue of Niger Students, they especially their pitch. Hello?
We are hearing you.
Go
Go
ahead.
on,
We
go
don't have
on.
time, please. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, this particular pitch, we need to water that pitch. And you people mentioned that how many trucks
Four
water that pitch?
every day. 2 weeks, yeah.
Me, I want to give my own contribution because me, I'm a lover of Niger Tornadoes.
Oh, that's very good.
Oh, that's good. All right. Then the essence of the program has been achieved. If you want to give, please go to Niger Tornadoes. I'm sure you know the Niger Tornadoes Secretariat at the Sport Council.
I'm living in Paiko, so I don't know how to, because of my own work, I cannot go to Niger Tornadoes office.
I help you. Let me
Okay.
give us his number.
Brother Dan,
Yep.
I listen to me.
I'm with you.
Don't give me our account number.
No, sir. I can't do that. I'm not the management of Tornadoes. Okay, what we'll do is this.
Give us your number.
Give us your number.
So that
If
we
it's-
give it to the chairman,
Maybe
Niger
we'll give it
Tornadoes.
to Niger Tornadoes chairman. Then we can be able to get you involved.
Okay, this particular number, just call me with it.
No, we are not seeing any number. Just
we
call it
cannot
for
see your
us.
number. But again, the problem is you're going to call.
Call it for us.
You are going to call it live on air. And so
Okay, text message.
Okay, let me call you live on air.
Okay.
Send text
send a
message.
text message. Send a text message to 090. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Send a text message to 090
Okay, I'm hearing you.
090
I'm hearing you.
36
6 6.
36.
Okay.
75
75.
94
Okay, 94.
63.
63.
Okay, I'm hearing you.
I will call the number again. 090
090.
36
Okay.
75
75.
94
94.
63.
63.
Do not call. Text the
Text
number.
your number, your number to
name.
that-
Just text your name.
And the number.
Just no, and you will send it. Just text your name.
Okay, what I want to do now is that people should now say other Niger lights, those who are interested in Niger tornadoes, let us contribute.
Yeah,
Well,
we have said
it
it
for them.
We have said so. We have said so.
And we are not the intermediates.
We are not doing fundraising for tornadoes, no.
Yes.
But we are saying those who are passionate about tornadoes, this is the
Go
time
to
for them to go to them, to the stadium. I'm sure definitely there are management in tornadoes that will be able to willing to partner with people. All they need now is water
in that pitch.
and more water.
Okay.
Yes.
What I want to do now, I'm going to give 10,000 naira.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
And I will try my special best from 5 road to that particular field. Let me know how to do to give that 10,000 naira.
All right.
No
Thank you so
problem.
much. We appreciate it. All right.
But people other Niger lights will do that thing, please. Let us know how to do it. We love Niger matters.
Yeah.
I want to see Niger. Yeah, I've been going to the field, but I'm a low-key watcher.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think we should be letting you go now at this point. Thank you so much for this. I think you see the essence of the program has been achieved because we are not doing fundraising, but again, by the fact that we are saying that they need water, and those who are supposed to actually assist you come over, and we have seen response. There are much response that would have come in if we have time to really continue, but hopefully by Saturday I think we'll be able to still reach out to most Nigeria. Because please, one tanker can do a lot in that stadium now. If you can get 3-4 people to come together and get, okay, don't worry. So we're going to just let you know that by the grace of God, we'll continue this edition of the program on Saturday because it's going to be a developing story, as we say in journalism, because it's still something that is ongoing. I want to see that stadium lush green.
Yes.
So that we won't have any excuse from any quarter to say that is why we did not approve the stadium. We want to see the stadium being, the play of being very, very attractive enough for them to say, go ahead and play your matches. So that's going to be the size of our package. I want to thank our wonderful crew here, starting from Mercy, Naomi, of course, JJ, all, of course, I think Martins, I should be saying special thank you to you. Of course, let me thank Stephen, wonderful guy. I always say wonderful guy, but again, it's not just a math. From my heart to heart, it's wonderful. Really
from heart to heart.
From very, very wonderful.
Yes.
We can come your way again, God willing, by the grace of God, on Saturday in the morning by 9 a.m. Until then, do have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.